The meeting that we had this last week with the Jehovah's Witness that came there, and he was very sincere. And he attempted to go into the meeting as the teacher. And he left the meeting as the student. He was puffed up coming in, and he was deflated going out. And that in a form could be a means of discipline apart from sin. In other words, we're not talking that this Jehovah's Witness, and it doesn't have to be a Jehovah's Witness, it could be a Baptist, it could be a Pentecostal, it could be, I'm just using the Jehovah's Witness as an example. It doesn't have to be a blatant sin.
I don't see
But
that's apart from sin.
But it's, pardon me?
How is that apart from sin if he has the sin of pride?
Well, I'm not, first of all, we go into that meeting, I'm not saying he had the sin of pride. I'm just simply saying he may have. I'm not judging the guy in that respect. He came in, he thought he was carrying all the cards, and that's pretty typical. If I asked a Christian to go into the meeting, and we're going to meet with the Jehovah, I want you to go talk to these guys, the Christian's going to come in thinking he's going to win the discussion or the argument or whatever it's going to be. And so I don't want to build a mountain out of the thing. Sure, I mean, none of us are exempt. We want to start building a watch with sin, we all fall. But I'm talking about there's a big difference between ending up in jail, you know, and maybe an educational correction type error that may not be quite interpreted as a sin. Or maybe we wouldn't want to even go there. And I'd rather not go there, because the finer you cut the slices, the closer they come home. And so I'm going to let someone else do the fine cutting, and I'm going to be doing the broad cutting, if you don't mind, so it doesn't boomerang back on me. So I'm just saying the guy came in there, he thought he was going to win, he went in as a winner, he went out as a loser. That could be a form of correction apart from sin concept. So there we have a case. So when you think of the discipline, it's not always just because I went out and I messed around with a girl when I shouldn't have, that God's discipline is on me. It could be that maybe I understood some things in the Bible wrong. Now, I was not referring to you, Richard. Don't take offense. It's not... Oh, this is a scream, isn't it? It may be just that you mishandle the Bible, and someone comes around and maybe corrects you. And for some people that might be a little embarrassing. It might be like pulling teeth, but that is a method that God might use also. We also have the concept in Romans chapter 5 of trials being more precious than gold. And trials, I think, could be also interpreted as maybe a form of discipline, because we may have allowed ourselves to get in situations that are independent of sin, but just not using wisdom the way it should be used. And now we're suffering the consequences for it, and the trials of our faith and how we proceed through these situations we've allowed ourselves to get in, short of blatant sin, could also be a form of discipline. Do we agree on that?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Wayne.
Well, you know, of course, when he's talking here in Hebrews, he's talking about this discipline as being a reproof. So this is a correction of a wrong action.
Yeah.
And when you're dealing with a trial, it's a different ballgame, because you could be walking right in the Spirit. In fact, I guarantee that when you're walking right tight in the Spirit of God, you're gonna have trials. It's the nature of things. Okay, with lack of a better term. You know, those who have God in Christ will suffer persecution, all kinds of different things, because we have an enemy and we're in a war. And we do grow from, of course, those trials and stuff like that. But we always must, that is a totally separate thing.
I think technically you're right, but I also think how we handle trials.
Well, if you handle it,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
The whole situation, when we go through trials, how many of us are going to say when we go through trials, we always respond in the right way as we're going through them? You see what I mean? So therefore, as a result of the trials, they may incorporate a form of discipline, in other words,
Right
honing
on.
us in. You see what I mean?
I agree 100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there we see it appears to me we've seen three forms of discipline. Can anybody come up with anything else that they might? Go ahead,
Well,
Daniel.
I just don't mean to burst your bubble or anything, but when you say that you know, if a person doesn't do something or you go through the trials, wouldn't that be sin? According to James
Well, it may not
17?
be. May not be.
Okay.
Now, again, let me say this to you. Let me say this to you. Again, however thin you want to slice it, for me, you better be prepared to live it for you. So therefore, I don't slice it that thin. So if you want to, we can slice it as thin as you want. Jesus has the ability to slice it real thin. If you want to be a disciple of me, go sell everything you've got, give it to the poor, and follow me. Okay, Jesus was able to ratchet it down for the people that really wanted to play hardball. Okay, I don't want to play hardball. You know, I want to get by in life. I don't want to play hardball, folks. You know, if you want to play hardball, Daniel, you play hardball, but make sure you're consistent with yourself as you are with the hardball you want me to play with myself. And so therefore, what I'm saying is, in a most technical sense, probably a certain percentage of the cases, your point may be true. But oftentimes, we blink at that kind of stuff. Well, we very well know anything not of faith is sin.
There you go.
If you know what to do and you don't do, it's sin. Okay, we all know that. So how many didn't sin today? You know, how many of us always do what we know what to do? How many of us always are living in faith? So therefore, I'm just simply saying, don't put that yoke upon me. I'm talking about the hamburger, the meat and potatoes of normal life existence without living under some cloud of condemnation over me every inch of my life and every day to where I can't breathe. And the only thing that allows me to have any breath at all is to be a professional Christian liar about myself. So I'm just talking about the real life situations here, folks.
It just goes to show how messed up we really are.
Yeah.
Now it's all by grace.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with how tight it can be ratcheted. Go ahead.
I'll give you a high five.
Thank you. God bless you. So let's move on to another verse here. Oh, and so the one form of discipline is that people refer to in this as you study what commentators and people have to say about this verse. I mean, the first thing we jump to is sin, but they paint a pretty wide swath to education. Education is a form of discipline, and so and it's not only biblical education. I guess it would be all forms of education.
That's what I think.
I know myself when I went through some very unwise in investing decisions, you know, and ended up losing some significant money to me. It still bothers me, you know what I mean? And so when I'm bothered by it, I have to be honest, and never once, other people have, never once have I blamed the financial counselor for the advice that he gave me. I haven't done that one time. I've only blamed one guy, and that's me.
Not me in this case.
It's there's only one guy to blame, and that's me for pride, arrogancy, and covetousness. And so I don't have anybody else to blame for my any mistakes that I've made. That's the first thing we always want to do when something doesn't go right with it. We want to blame the other guy. Well, I thought that I was pretty together before that event occurred, but as a result of that event occurring, I learned some things about myself that actually I didn't know about myself. And so that was a form of discipline and a form of conforming more into the image of Christ. And these things are good. So here it's a case of education. And verse 7, it is for discipline that you endure. God deals with you as with sons. For what son is there who his father does not discipline? But if you are without discipline, of which all have become partakers, then you are illegitimate children and not sons. Further, so the very fact, Dwayne, that you have experienced what you've experienced in life, hey, give me a high five, you're a born again believer. No, yeah, yeah. You know, you get that discipline, that's an indication that you're a child of God. If you had no discipline, you know.
It works for me.
Yeah, right.
Amen. Thank you.
Furthermore, we had earthly fathers to discipline us, and we respected them.